Good afternoon and or evening and or morning, depending on your location in the world. My name is K3, and we are here for the Quarantine Cup 2020 Round 2 match of Team South Stars versus Team... Oh god, my professional... Deeply Closeted, I'm sorry. This is my second match of the day, and after we play this home and away game, I will have been casting for 6 hours. So bear with me. I woke up early to cast this morning. Okay, all right. We've gotten over the bump. We're smooth sailing for the rest of this cast. Team Deeply Closeted. Yes. So I was about to make a joke, but anyway, I'm joined today by my good friend and co-caster Blake.
I want to hear this joke now. I know it's about me. Make it. Come on.
I was gonna say, speaking of deeply closeted, someone who's very much not someone who's very much the opposite of that is my co-caster Blake.
You can solo cast this. Have fun. I'm out.
What?
Anyway, that was actually very funny. I'm very proud of you. Hello, chat. I missed you. I hope you're all having a beautiful day.
Yes, so we are here on the South American server for Team South Stars here on the map Dead Air. If that wasn't obvious enough, as it is, then you'll probably be very confused watching the rest of this game. So yeah, we are here for the first match of a home and away game. Yeah, Team Southstars, I believe, the number 8th seed versus Deeply Closeted, I believe, the number 16th seed, if I'm correct about that.
I think so.
Yeah. So very quickly, it seems like people are running up super quickly. So for Team Southstars, we'll do a quick roster rundown. For Team Southstars, we have Loud, Domi, Knock, and I'm not sure if Ozzy or Slay is playing, but it looks like Ozzy right now. And who do we have for Team Deeply Closeted?
For Team Deeply Closeted, none of them have the name we usually go by, so this is going to be great. We have Badfish, Putty, Moscow, and Lucy.
Gaylord being Putty, Moscow being Rosemary, and Lucy / Lucifer being Why You No Show Me Face. Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of the of when you sign up having who your name is, but cool. I guess we've got this match going live, perfectly timed for the roster rundown. We have a tank at 50% into the way of this map, so that will only be one hit before the tank spawns. It looks like the SI are set up outside, looking for a boom and maybe a pull into a death charge or something like that.
Absolutely. I mean, we have that smoker and charger. It would be pretty easy for them to set up a death charge and get it. I don't know if we've seen one yet in the tournament so far, at least in this spot.
There was one death charge yesterday onto Team 5ML. I'll have you know.
Oh, I casted that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see another. Who knows? This boomer is set up in the room currently, just being very patient with that boomer. We do have our survivors pushing forward now. Looks like that smoker is still trying to get that spawn up there. Bill is a little bit ahead on the flank. Francis is now following him. SI are still waiting patiently. We do have the hunter going in, getting nicely skeeted. We do have a death charge going in on Zoe for free.
What? Knock just misplaced. He didn't get pulled into that. A different survivor got pulled, and Knock just standing in line with the death charge. I guess he didn't hear that. I mean, silent chargers are a thing. It's happened to me before, and we have a boom rolling in here, and the tank is on its way in. Not even time to talk about the death charge. It just went out onto Knock. Tank is now committed, down to about 57% health. Jockey going in, looking for stumbles, but it's not going to land just yet. Jockey gets shut down. Tank is now at 42% health, has managed to get a corner out onto Francis. Hunter getting skeeted out of the air, though. This will be a down onto Francis, but it looks like the tank is actually going to die here before the Horde is able to do much. So 3 people just destroyed the tank and all the SI with only taking 1 in-cap. So, I mean, nicely recovered there, but, I mean, if your Team Southstars playing on your home server, and at the very first attack you get death charged without much of a setup for it, that's a really strong start for Team Deeply Closeted.
Absolutely, but I think Badfish got a little too excited there. I think he thought, I just got this death charge. I'm going to go straight in. And that's great. But as we saw, he kind of committed without his support really ready. His support really wasn't able to do much because it wasn't a good setup for that area. And he got melted with only 1 in-cap against 3 survivors. So I think he should have been a little bit more patient. But they have a dead survivor. They're probably going to, do better than Southstars are just because they're going to have a lot more bonus and 4 survivors. So, it's a kind of win-lose situation. But we do have another hit going in here. Spit going down on the ladder. Charger is going in for another charge, not able to get it. Jockey does get a nice shock on Lewis in the spit. Not getting cleared just yet, but does get cleared. So a decent amount of damage going out on Loud there.
Yeah, plus the split block, nicely positioned, will allow them to have some more scattered spawns coming in right before the safe room. So the survivors will not be able to get a free ride the rest of the map. So far, looks like the survivors are sitting in about 247 bonus. I mean, not more or less. They are sitting in exactly that bonus. There will be one more hit coming in here in a second here to stop the survivors, and the survivors are going way out to the left by this alarm car. But we're actually is going to get a nice boom on that alarm car, and will trigger the alarm as well. Looks like the SI are set up to try to go in on this. They are really going for this wipe here. They would love to be able to secure this before the survivors make it in. Hunter kind of going in here, trying not to get skidded, is very low on health, does manage to get shut down. Charger's going to miss his charge there, and Smoker's going to get a very momentary pull. Horde is now very much surrounding Domi, but they are going to be able to make it into the safe room with a pretty passable bonus, but not quite the amount of points that they were looking off of their map one. And if anything, this type of map one for the SI side just gives a lot of good momentum to Team Deeply Closeted. Really nice discharge there, going out on to Knock to start this game off, and they came here to play on the Airway server.
They absolutely did. I mean, with that charger was perfectly timed. He knew where Knock was going to be. He was prepared for it, and he got it basically for free. Like, the only thing that happened to Knock was that he was boomed, and then he was dead. So very, very good play by Badfish there, getting that. No setup needed. And, you know, for Deep Closet, like, it's a big thing. Getting a kill on the very first hit without the tank even going in yet. That just means they're going to have so many less points. That makes that first tank a lot easier. You know, that really takes the pressure off a tank that can be very, very difficult to play. And for Stealth Stars, that just means that they're really going to have to clean up their survivor here. Like, they're going to have to play a lot tighter. They're going to be a lot more careful. They can't let themselves get put in positions like that where they can just eat a free death charge. But, you know, they are in their home server. It is just map 1 of Dead Air. You know, we talked about it earlier today, but map 1 is relatively inconsequential. So I think they really need to just, like, get their head back in it, kind of, like, just, you know, accept, okay, we got death charge. It's all good. We're moving on, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I think something that should be noted is that, you know, even though they did get discharged, they took the rest of the tank with only 3 survivors and only took 1 in cap, shutting down a bunch of SI in the progress. I think that just is a testament to exactly the caliber of players that Team Stars does have, especially from like a mechanical standpoint. Plus, a lot of these players have been playing together for a long time. Team Stars, of course, branding themselves very accurately as the top South American team. So, you know, they are nothing to scoff at, for without a doubt. And on top of that, this may be their home server, but I would expect that the South American players, especially these guys, if anyone, probably play on North American servers more than their own. So they're very, very much accustomed to playing on high ping. So if you think that even if they were to come out of this game without a large lead, they are very much, I think, of all the teams that I know, one of the most capable of scoring highly on their high ping server.
Absolutely. And, you know, we can't discount teams like Southstar. These are players that have been around for a long time. Like, I've seen Loud, Knock, and Ozzy in quite a few tournaments, and along with Slay. You know, all of these are players that have been on some very good South American teams, who have made a name for themselves in the community, who are important parts of the community. These are good players, and they had a rough map 1. You know, it happens to the best of us. I think they're going to be just fine, and they are the much higher seed in this match. So I would give the favor to them solely for that. But if this is any indication, Deeply Closeted are also very, very solid. You know, they have a good chance at this too. And I feel like I've been both sidesing all day, but I think this is going to be a really, really solid match. And just for the viewers not aware, Slay, who just got in the server, is going to be playing on their home server because OZ is unable to connect.
Yes, this was an issue he had loading into the server as well. This is Ozzy's server, but he has been unable to connect. So we will have. Thankfully, they have their 5th player Slay up, ready to sub in, which is very convenient, and we don't have to wait super long trying to get some kind of substitute. So we are actually going to go live with the second half here. Team Southstar is looking to recover from that sort of rocky survivor start on their side and deal out some damage and hopefully get the wipe on to Team Deeply Closeted before they accumulate too many points on their away server.
Absolutely. And as a reminder, we do have a Charger, Smoker, Hunter, Boomer for this first hit. Looks like that Charger is set up on the roof, with the Smoker set up on the smaller roof, Boomer set up above them. And so I imagine they're probably going to be going for the Death Charge as well, just kind of like a revenge and just say, hey, we can do it too.
Yeah, I feel
like
like...
in a similar...
Yeah, I feel like they're going for this pull onto the side and then to maybe charge off the ledge, but they're actually looking for a pull forward onto Bill, who's a little bit separated. Nice 2-boom going in. Aren't able to secure the death charge because Charger had a long way to walk in by himself. But that was a nice 2-boom landing. The tank is rolling pretty closely as a stumble that's almost going to stumble Bill off the edge, but they are able to barely recover off of this. Tank is still rolling in here. I'm not sure if this is the right... And Slaves crashed in front of everyone.
Oh, dear.
This is not what you want. You hate to see it. We just finished casting the last game, and everything went super smoothly for the most part, other than the one chapter where there was a couple of shenanigans. But we're already not even finished map 1, and we have Slay crashing, Ozzy unable to connect to his own server. Yeah, this is just not what you want to see. Because then there's the talk of, oh, now that the tank is lagged out, do you want to restart this half of the chapter or whatever? And then you can say, oh, but look, the survivors are 3-boomed, and then Slay was going to go in and destroy them. So...
This is Left 4 Dead 2 at its peak. If we're not pausing constantly, if we're not seeing terrible things happen to all of the players, we're not playing Left 4 Dead 2. So this tracks for what I expected, and I am not disappointed, just anxiously awaiting us to figure out what's going to happen. What do you think about this commit, though? Because the tank did jump in, all of the support's down, but he does have a tri-boom.
I think that just judging on the distance between the tank and the survivors, and the fact that the Horde is going to have a bit of trouble getting through these windows, I think it was kind of a shaky commit. I'm not sure if I completely agree. I think that he correctly chose to use the boom to get across without taking any chip, or much chip, or certainly less than he would have taken otherwise. So I think that was an okay call, but he's going in, and you can see that Loud has 2 on his SI timer, Domi has 6, and I can't quite see what Knock has on his SI timer. But, you look at the tank, I can't see the tank HUD, but it looks like tank has probably around 4k HP or so. So I think that, hypothetically, if this tank were to still be slain had he not crashed, I think it was maybe not quite the best call to go straight in on them like that.
Yeah, and I think we saw that on Deeply Closeted's tank as well, solely because that was such a rushed commit. He was like, I have 3 survivors, I have a boom, I'm going to be just fine. And he only got 1 down for it. And, we were talking earlier about Americans specifically, that they don't play as patient as many other teams do. And we're seeing that here where, both American teams are throwing their tanks in, maybe when they shouldn't.
Yeah, and we now see Ozzy is back in the game. So Ozzy unable to connect to the server, Slay crashes, and Ozzy back with a vengeance to try to recover this game. So yeah.
Ozzy talking in game and then through the console. Interesting.
So I'm not sure what the consensus here is. I'm not sure if they're looking to restart this half of map or not, or if they're just... I know, because the tank will pass, I believe, to another player who will then just be staring down 3 Uzis. And the Survivor team showing a bit of frustration. I mean, rightfully so. It's it looked like they were in good position to take this tank down, and I could imagine it would probably be frustrating if you had to restart that side of the chapter. Obviously, we wouldn't restart the first side of South Star's Survivor, just because there was no connection issues that interrupted that.
I'm unsure what's going to happen. I'll just putting that in chat just so we have it. I imagine that the teams will probably decide amongst themselves. Ozzy is asking to restart the infect. We'll see how deep closet it's feeling.
Ozzy, the divine being speaking through the console server. Would you mind restarting our infected?
You promised not to wipe us. Interesting.
Moscow laying out the terms. Yeah, Moscow being the good guy, and Putty agreeing. They are cool with restarting the infected half for Team South Stars. Up to you, loud with it. Up to you if you want to play fair. No pressure.
Looks like we may just be restarting this infected half and possibly setting the scores. I don't know if we'll actually be able to set it because I don't think Slay can connect.
Yeah, I think the good guy play is to restart this half of the rank. I think you could probably put up a bit of a case for either side, but yeah, Putty's saying I think we should restart. Moscow agreeing. That's 50% of the team ready for democracy. And Badfish saying, okay, but if I get death charged, I'm like, which would be a very unfortunate end to this game.
That would be. But you know what? Left 4 Dead 2 looks like we are going live. I imagine we are just going to restart the half. Patty asking how we're gonna.
Yeah, so you have to ready up and go live for the vote to go through. And then you leave the safe room as the survivors. You slay the survivors. The Slay will slay the survivor. Oh, I guess he can't because he's crashed and can't connect. So I think Ozzy has admin though, so Ozzy will slay the survivor, and then once the round goes over, they will play out the survivor side of the others of team Deeply Closeted. And once we go over to map 2, you set the scores to 471 for Team South Stars to whatever Deeply Closeted scores on their side. So that's the way that you go through it. It's a bit of a kerfuffle. It's a bit of cluster, but it's what you got to do. This is what you sign up for when you see, oh, a Left 4 Dead tournament in 2020. I'm down for that. And you enter, and someone hits you up and says, hey, bro, you want to join our Left 4 Dead 2 team for a Quarantine Cup? And you're like, there's a tournament in 2020? Wow. And then you agree, and then you're on the sign-up sheet, on the roster. And then you enter a match and this happens, and you weren't expecting it in some degree. It's on you, brother.
That sounded very personal, K3. Did that happen to you?
I mean, I've had a handful of matches. Honestly, I think in the history of match like bullshittery to happen, I think I've gotten out for the most part pretty decently. But I've casted countless matches of all kinds of crazy server stuff happen. So it's I think nobody is stranger to this kind of shenanigans.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to expect Left 4 Dead 2. This is a 10-year-old game? Something like that?
Verging on 11.
Ah, wow, almost as old as me. It's getting there, so, of course it's going to have its issues, and it is what it is. I think this is a game that we all love dearly, because we're still playing it all these years later. It's going to have its issues, it's getting up there in age, it's got bugs, it's got problems, but it's our little game, and I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. It's doing its.
It's had a good run. Honestly, if the community had completely died out 4 years ago, like I expected it to, that was already a pretty solid run overall. That's longer than most games last. So the fact that it's still being played is, I think, both a testament to the quality of the game and also a testament to the poor decision-making skills of everyone within it.
Absolutely, and I just had the foresight to probably write down Jank spawns, because I don't know if anybody is. I'm so smart. You want to take away this first hit?
Cool. Oh god, we restarted, so I forgot to put up my spec head, but I'm just gonna do this based on sight alone. So I'm really hoping that Team Deeply Closeted avoids this death charge that they're looking to maybe set up. Looks like the SI is setting up very, very similarly to the way that they did last time. Maybe they don't like time paradoxes, so they're trying to set things up exactly the way that things were. So they're setting up the smoker up in the front here. Hunter's looking for something from behind. Boomer's also looking for an arc boom once Bill leaves this window here. Charger looking for a rocket off the top. And looks like the tank is going to spawn up here. Smoker looking for that pull forward, but it's going to go away. It just completely get shut down. Charger has nothing to do. Boomer landing a one boom. Hunters here is going to get skeeted by the entire team of Team Deeply Closeted. And now tank up in the hands of Domi. And he's taking the long way around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty good call here. You can take a lot of chip trying to get up on that roof, and that was a very, very good take by Deeply Closeted. They shut down all at the SI, did not need a free death charge, and now the tank is in, a better position than he might have been earlier. He is now climbing up and looking to maybe get on that roof. I imagine he may commit from the roof. He does have a good setup for this. Jockey Charger Smoker. They may choose to kill that Charger in favor of a Hunter, or they may keep it. I know I prefer a Hunter there. I think it's a little bit easier to land. But currently, he's just taking a little bit of chip, and now it looks like he is going to be pushing in through the front, choosing not to take roof. Smoker going for that early pull, not able to get it, though. He is just trying to get this corner on Bill now. He does get a punch on Bill. Bill does get pulled. Looks like the tank is going to try to rock to protect that. He does rock him and take that corner. It's going to be one more punch, and Putty is down. Looks like that Jockey and the Charger are both going in on Zoe. Charger does not land, but Jockey does land on Lewis. Tank now B-hopping in, does get the next punch on Lewis. This is a pretty good amount of damage for this tank. He is now turning around to Francis, throwing a rock. Does not land the rock, unfortunately. He does just have just under 1,000 HP. Pushing into the safe room now, trying to throw one more Hail Mary rock to maybe get something. Doesn't look like he's going to get it, and I imagine that this tank is probably dead.
Take a breath, buddy. Take a breath. That was a... Wow. I'm surprised you're not winded after that. Very, very long sentence you just spoke. That was nicely covered. That was nicely covered, though. This tank is now sitting at about 300 HP. Smoker pulling out the window, almost gets a nice cap out there, but gets nicely M2'd there by Moscow and shut down. So Survivor's sitting pretty here with a 400 bonus, and they're going to be pushing forward here past this next hit, and there's only going to be probably 1.5 more hits left in this chapter for Team Southstars to try to stop up the Survivors, and they're looking to try to take a lead on their away server here, which is very nicely done. I'm glad that there was no gigantic shenanigans, any big death charges immediately that would have caused further debates in this restart-a-thon that we've had. So looks like the Survivors are well in position to keep going forward.
Alright, looks like we do have this Boomer spawned up at the top, and Charger and Jockey both going in. We do have another death charge going out on Putty!
I jinxed it. Commentator's curse. I would have, honestly, the only thing that would have made it better if it were Badfish, who said that he was leaving if he got death charge. Granted, this happened after the tank, so there is no argument here. That's just a clean kill out on to Putty there, who got boomed and then ate a free charge out on the roof there. And that is very nicely done by Ozzy securing that kill. And that will be a huge mitigation of the score that was going to be scored by Team Deeply Closeted. So, yes, Sisto says, dead. Oh, the strike out.
We almost had a strike out moving out. We do have a long hunt landing on Lewis for a lot of damage, and Zoe is stuck in spit after a pull. Because another pull is going to pull her back into spit. She's going to take even more damage. What a final hit by Southstars. They're showing that even if they get death charged on the first round, they're not here to mess around.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to maintain a lead going into the second thing. Yeah, I think Deeply Closeted, their positioning and their readiness for taking that hit just kind of slightly fell apart at the last second. Okay, so they actually will be taking the lead here because the first score, we believe, was 417. So, actually, yeah, Deeply Closeted taking a very marginal lead going into map 2 on their away server, which is still a solid performance, but nowhere near quite how they were set up to be prior to that death charge. So, nice recovery there by the SI of Team Southstars, trying to make sure that they come out of their home server with the lead.
Absolutely, and that's what you have to do. In a home and away, You really just have to make sure that you score enough on your home server, especially if it's the first game, just to mitigate any damage that you can do on your away server. And if you come into the away server with a lead, all you have to do is keep that lead. You don't have to win the game, and that's the big thing. I believe we are going to be setting scores. I need to check what the score was because I wrote it down. 471.
Oh, 471. Okay, so Team So Stars is actually in the lead. I thought it was 417.
Yes,
All
we
right.
do have them set. Teams are correct. I'm going to write down that tank spawn, and we are good to go as soon as they are ready.
Awesome. Okay, so hopefully we're done with the shenanigans for the rest of the. I'm hoping for a nice, clean Left 4 Dead 2 gameplay for the rest of it. Badfish, the scores are already set. Okay.
Should hopefully switch at the end of the map. If it doesn't, we can just swap them, I imagine. Not a big deal. Just Left 4 Dead 2 things, and I can hear a storm, so if I suddenly disappear, don't be...
He's a dopey cut. And he gets cut off.
Yeah, no, I died, actually. Struck by lightning. I should be fine, though. My internet doesn't usually go out.
That's a monkey ass.
It's a big monk ass. Chat, I know you'll miss me so much. I love you guys. I hope you're having great days. I already said that, but I want to wish it to you again. I have to compliment chat so they don't bully. It's a good idea.
I just embrace the bullying, honestly.
I get it enough from you, so, you know, if chat's doing it too, I might cry, and then I'll cry on stream, and then who wants that, really?
But we're just waiting for Badfish to ready up here, and then we will be live with this second map of Dead Air on the South America. Looks like Tank is going to be spawning at 43%, which I believe is going to be right after the event. That's like as they're going over onto the rooftop with the air conditioning units. I think those are air conditioning units. Whatever, the big metal box things. So as an interesting tank spawn, because the tank can elect to instant commit on that, or they can wait for the setup that they want. And we have an instant pause by Moscow.
Ah, Left 4 Dead 2. Never change. And it looks like
Buddy crashed. What is this server, man? This server just doesn't like people staying connected to it.
Folks, I feel like we're in for a long match, so settle in, grab a beer, come hang out with K3 and I for like 4 or 5 hours. I don't know. We'll be here as long as they need, unless my storm takes my internet out. Who knows? We'll find out. So Left 4 Dead 2, anything can happen. We do have a Boomer Jockey Charger Smoker for this first hit. No spit, so no risk of a spit charge. But you can see a fair amount of damage here with this setup.
Yeah, you get a nice rocket boom from the top. You get a smoke into a corner. You get a jockey away. Yeah, you can get some stuff here. I'm expecting that the South Stars are probably in a pretty good shape to shut down this hit for the most part. But and we have a restart chapter coming out, and we have a VPN IP posted for the server in chat as well. So right as I attempted to hope that there was going to be no shenanigans left, within minutes, already disaster strikes.
Oh, we're never going to finish this game, are we? I think we're going to be stuck here forever.
Yeah, I'm calling. My next work shift is on Monday, but I'm calling in now, saying that I might be a bit late.
I lost my job in quarantine, so I don't have to worry about that. Should try that, you fucking nerd.
Oof.
Oh, I apologize for swearing. I'm better than that.
Yeah, it's very, very unprofessional.
I know, I'm the worst. Vanilla's gonna kick me out. Recording on what?
Do the recording, man. Oh, okay, I'm never gonna do an accent again.
That was beautiful, and I'm so proud of you.
I've never in my life attempted a Jamaican accent, so there's like zero practice. So yeah, I'm not gonna go there.
Where else are you going to practice except Left 4 Dead 2 cast? We don't have much else to
Oh
talk
yeah, where else am I going to practice the first time I've ever attempted a Jamaican accent in front of 120 people? There's no better place to do that.
We don't have a lot else to talk about. There's not much going on yet. I support you. Like, we could learn together if you want.
So Ozzy now saying that usually he has 15 ping to the server. He's currently pinging 115. Loud also having extraordinarily high ping for our home server, and Domi also having not ideal ping. So I guess honestly, I'm sorry, Ozzy, your server is kind of fudged, man. This this server is been giving us some issues. Not that there's a lot of choice in the South American server, I guess, lineup. But it looks like they're going to play it out anyway. I think people are just relatively tired of waiting. Tank is now no longer at 43%. It's going to be at 37%, which is even more precarious of a spawn because that's spawning right around the top of the building there. I think right around where you start the event. So probably going to have to run back into one of the rooms to get that into a decent spot for fighting and avoid death charge potentials.
We do have a Charger Smoker Jockey Spitter for this first hit. Looks like that Jockey is going in from the back. Smoker does try to get something, he's not able to land. Charger charges into a wall, and Jockey gets under and shut down. Build. Oh. Okay, I thought he crashed. He just spectated the tank. Alright,
Okay.
We're good. Bill does take a little bit of free spit damage, but other than that was a very good shutdown by Southstars.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say right now, let's remember what the individual chapter scores are for Chapter 2, just in case the scores don't switch over at the end of the round, because, well, the scores are supposed to switch over to the correct teams next round. I wouldn't put it past this game to not do that, so let's just remember that just in case. Did Zoe crash?
Nope, she's moving.
Okay, they're just taking this hit very slowly. Okay, every single time a survivor's standing still, I'm just not quite ready for it. Searching going to go in there, not quite get a slam, but gets a nice slam there for 10 damage. Hunter gets pretty quickly clear there, and there is a 3-boom going out, which is a pretty passable chip damage there onto the survivors, and they will be spawning up this tank here into the hands of Putty for this map too, and I'm interested to see which room these survivors take them. It looks like they are going to go to the gun room. I do kind of like this room. I mean, there isn't a lot of good spots to fight this tank, but this is, I think, a slightly better one because you can put an Uzi clip into the tank and then pick up the shotgun on the table there for some really sizable damage. There is a 1-boom out here onto the survivors though, and it looks like the tank is looking to commit through the back, and I think Zoe is looking for some pre-chip because they do expect that. So I think he's going to have to make a decision pretty quickly here if he wants to commit from the front or the back.
Looks like that tank is now changing his mind and is going to be pushing up to the front. They are going to have a Jockey, Hunter, and drum roll, a Smoker for this commit. Smoker is definitely not ideal for this tank, and we do have the tank now pushing in. Smoker's just going to have to try to do what he can to help him out. We have the Hunter kind of bouncing around trying to make some noise. Tank's getting really chipped. He's got 1800 HP.
He's whiffing punches.
He's whiffing a lot of punches. He does get a double, and that is a 2-cap in the back. That's a tri-cap and
what? What? How? What?
I don't know.
How did this happen? They had this tank on lockdown. Like, honestly, okay, so Tank whiffed his first punch coming into the doorway. Then Francis took the big brain play of body blocking the tank after he whiffed that punch. And by the time that the tank got his first punch, he was down to like 35-40%. And then he managed to get a double punch in the room, but Tank was just getting absolutely melted by the survivors. And then there was, I guess, the Hunter landed first, and then the Jockey covered it. And then the Smoker, I guess, got the final cover there. But what was looking to be almost an amazing tank take in that room turned into an amazing tricap landing by Team Southstars onto Team Deeply Closeted, and that is a pretty rough take for the Team Southstars Survivor War Room that I have just discovered. Apparently, we do have these Southstars War Rooms, so in the future, we will be going over to that for some of these tank fights. so that we can hear the Jaja perspective.
Absolutely. I can't wait to hear that. We do, as a reminder, we do have a Spitter Jockey Charger Smoker for this first hit. Looks like Team Deeply Closet is being a bit more aggressive with this, and the SI are choosing to hold for the ladder choke, which I think is probably a good idea. You can do a lot of damage to the charge stick here. We do have the Spitter, Smoker, and Jockey set up above the survivors on the roof, and the Charger set up inside, so it looks like Francis is now just trying to bait that. Zoe's up there with him. Zoe is starting to push up. Smoker does spawn. Everything seems to be going in. Bill does get Jockey to the back. A charge does go out in spit. That is a pretty decent amount of damage. Francis is still stuck in it. He does manage to kill the Smoker, but Moscow took a lot of damage there.
This is just kind of destruction on both sides here. Map 1, we saw 2 death charges on both surfaces. This time we've seen a lot of pre-tank damage here before this tank, and we saw an amazing tank wipe with a tri-cap, which is very difficult, especially with a Smoker in a tight corridor like that. And now we're seeing a bit of maybe one last attempt at getting some damage before this tank. Charge is going to go in there and go AI and die. Jockey landing for a couple seconds. Hunter's going to land for even less, and because he got skidded in one shot by Moscow. And there's actually a quad boom here landing. The tank is actually going to be able to roll in on this. He's going to climb up through the back here. He's looking for this commit onto the top of this quad boom, and Zoe's like, guys, the tank is in, and the rest of the team doesn't realize it yet, and he's looking for the corner. He's going to find it. He's still got a lot of health. That's like that's a death punch onto Zoe. This is a wipe. There's no more casting. There's no more casting that needs to be done. This is just the end. What the? That was the quickest turn. They got quad boom during the tank commit, or right before the tank commit, and then amazing job by Nock recognizing that there was going to be an opportunity to go in, and Zoe, whose putty just got death punched off the top there, who was the only person set up to try to chip the tank on its way in, and amazingly done by Team Stars with the recovery. Yeah, this has just been pretty disastrous for every single Survivor team so far.
I don't even know what to say.
They're making up for the waiting and the lag outs and everything with some amazing SI play and maybe a couple of Survivor. I think that when Team South Stars misplayed on the like slightly on the run back, or I guess no, I mean South Stars played the run back to the where they wanted to take their tank pretty well. And I think that Team Deeply Closet should have tried to emulate that, but unfortunately they got quad boomed right as the tank was spawning, and they were not ready for that hit. And then when there's a quad boom and the tank was just able to roll straight on that, by the time we got that first corner, it's like that's just gonna be a wipe. So. Slay saying in chat, it's all plans. Sack on the home server and try on the. So they're showing their South Star strats in a full effect right here.
Yeah, and I mean it's clearly working. Even when they wipe, they're making sure the other team wipes too. So it's not that awful. I mean, our first hit is going to be a Spitter Charger Smoker Jockey. Moscow calling out that he is ready. They are going to be going in. Bullet's going to go out and build a quick clear. Jockey's going to get M2 and shut down. Charger does miss, and Spit goes down on nothing. Only just getting a little bit of free spit damage on Loud, and that is a shutdown by South Stars.
Okay, now they're ready to roll. After that amazing wipe by Nock and the Boomer and the 2-cap, they are ready to roll now. They are recovered. There's no major momentum on either side. Team Stars are like, okay, let's just score big points on these next 2 chapters, and there will be no more issues. Looks like Tank is actually going to spawn at 34%, so I think the Survivors are going to probably elect to hold out the event before starting the tank. I don't think they can start the tank just by going over to the gas cans, but they might.
They may be able to, actually. I'm not completely sure. I guess we'll find out. But we do have a hit going in here. Hunter gets nicely skeeted by Domi. Boom does go out on Lewis. Jockey gets M2 shut down. And this poor Smoker is just looking for anything that he can get. He is going to get a pull on Lewis for a little bit of damage, though. Fortunately, is quickly cleared by Domi, and that's a shutdown of a hit. Looks like they are choosing to start the event and are going to set up to just try to take this out. Kill as much common as they can before the tank spawn.
I really hope they pay close attention to the percentage, and now that they're in this corner, they have to hold out the entire event here, because if they say, oh, we destroyed a hit, we can push forward. They're going to spawn tank potentially with Horde up and then die. So I hope Team South Stars just wait out this whole event, and I believe that they are 5-head enough to be able to do that. There is a stumble boom going out there onto Zoe. Charger gets nicely shut down. Spirit has nothing to go on top of, and Hunter got shut down as well. So nice take there. Those are the type of shutdowns that we want to see.
Absolutely, and that's the important thing about this right now, is this tank is not, not the easiest tank in the world to fight. There are quite a few dumpsters. There's also quite a few things to dodge dumpsters around, but sometimes hitables can be really inconsistent, and sometimes they just fly at you and you don't even hear them, and then suddenly you're in-capped and the team is wiped, and it's horrifying.
It sounds like it's coming from personal experience.
Oh, so much. I've eaten so many hitables. God. But hopefully survivors are aware and careful. We do have a hit going in here. Charger's trying to get something climbing up, but he's not able to get anything. We do have a pull going out on Lewis down there. Looks like we do have two going out as well. Jockey's just pouncing around trying to get something. He just gets shut down as well. Another great shutdown by South Stars. This is the play that they've needed the whole time. If they could keep playing like this, they would be so far in the lead.
Yes, that is a very factual statement. And they are rightfully waiting out this entire horde. They realize, okay, let's not push forward and do anything stupid. There's been enough mistakes on our survivor sides already. Let's just play this solid, play this slow, don't take unnecessary risks. And thankfully, there's no more death charge possibilities for the rest of the campaign. So there's no worries about that.
I don't believe that. I'm sure a team will find a way. We do have a Charger, Hunter, Smoker, Spitter for this next hit. Looks like they are choosing to save it, for the alley, which I think is a good idea. Looks like Moscow is just going to try to maybe land a DP. Gets nicely skeeted by Domi, and that is going to leave that Charger, Spitter, and Smoker to hopefully get something when the tank spawns. Looks like the survivors are now just taking this very carefully, taking their time, trying to spawn the tank without taking too much damage, and we do have the hit going in now. Smoker does land for a moment, Charger gets shut down, or misses, excuse me. Stick goes down on nothing, it looks like a Charger is now dead, and we do have the tank up in the hands of Moscow.
Moscow, yes. A longtime player in the community, has been playing about since around the same time that I joined. I like to boast that I'm one of the few people that has heard Moscow's voice, and I hold that fact very near and dear to my heart. But so I'm expecting big things from my buddy Moscow here and his tank. He is ready to transition up on top of the roof, I think. I think he wants SI to go in for a quick hit here. Looks like there is going to be a nice M2 onto the jockey who gets shut down. Boomer pop going out onto Putty, and Hunter's got absolutely no hope of landing here now. And Moscow was unable to get the full transition over to the roof closer to them. So it looks like he's going to have to commit on his next hit and go for a bunch of dumpster plays.
Yeah, I mean, that was very, very quick and nice shutdown by South Stars. I think the SI staggered their hit a little bit to hopefully buy Moscow more time to get over, but everything got shut down so quickly that it didn't matter. So very, very good shutdown by South Stars. It looks like Moscow is saying that he's going to go in with that Charger, Smoker, and Jockey. He's hitting his jumpers around. He's got like 5 or 6 there, so there is no shortage of them. He's just hitting around. They're all starting to bounce off of each other, and that's making it more difficult almost. He does get a dumpster up on the top of the roof, so the survivors are probably going to have to push back down, but he's struggling to get up there. He's at already 50% HP, and he hasn't even gotten in yet.
He's ditching the dumpster.
Oh, that is a questionable decision. This tank is dead. The support is still not in. He has 200 HP. Smoker does land for a moment. Jockey does get shut down. Charger goes in, does not land anything, and that tank is...
Yeah, that is a 2-punch tank coming out there from Moscow. I think when he punched that dumpster, he was having a bit of trouble getting the dumpsters exactly where he wanted to originally. But he did get the one dumpster on top of the platform there that he did not elect to bring further in with him, which I was unsure about. And by the time that he was in there, he wasn't able to secure a full corner. And then the rest of his SI support came in fairly late as the tank was already pretty dead. So very nicely taken there by South Stars, taking very, very minimal damage coming out of a difficult tank fight like that. And they are sitting pretty, looking to make up all the points that they could have gotten on the last few maps, all on this one map 3 here with an amazing survivor round so far.
Absolutely. I mean, they're sitting on a 1,092 bonus. That is monstrous. And if they can keep that, they're going to be in a pretty good position. And so now it's on Deep Closet to just try to bring that down a little bit. We do have the Hunter going in, landing for just a moment. Spit is going to go down on that. And Bill does get pulled as well for quite a long.
Yeah, Bill getting a nice separation pull there for a decent amount of damage onto OZ. But Survivor's still sitting at 1,027 health bonus, which is absolutely monstrous. I mean, Dead Air 3 being one of the easier Dead Air maps on Survivor side, if not the. That being said, I think that there is more work to be done for the SI side right now because they do not want to have this kind of health bonus. Like if you're playing away, you are expecting some maps with a decent health bonus, but nothing quite of this caliber. I'm not sure. There is a jockey getting a nice hit there in that room, but the Charger was looking for a spawn in the women's restroom and was unable to find it as the survivors were blocking it all. So the Spitter didn't really have much to go down on top of, and that's a pretty decent take there once again by Southstars.
Naughty Lucy trying to spawn in the women's restroom. Trying to get that peek at Zoe. What a man. Yeah, that was a very good shutdown. We saw that Charger just kind of charge back, that despawn. He knows that he's not going to land anything on his own, so he is just going to reset for hopefully one more hit with a Boomer, Smoker, Jockey, Charger. No Spitter, so we're not going to see any spit charges, but this is a lot of separation, and we do have a 1 boom going out, so they get set up a lot here. We do have the Smoker and Jockey spawning at the front. Lewis does get pulled for a moment, Jockey does get M2 and shut down, and Charger does land on Zoe just for 10 damage though, so overall a pretty good take by Southstars.
Hey there, I am looking for female gamers to play with. I already have male friends, so yeah, I'm looking to branch out.
Somebody copy and paste that to Lucy if you don't mind. I think he'd appreciate it, especially in these trying times during this match, as they are sitting on 928 bonus right now, which again is huge.
Oh yeah, no, they have a pretty abysmal setup for this last hit. They're looking for maybe a wall kick from Spitz, maybe take 50 more points off of the bonus, but Boomer gets into Hunter's looking for something, and this Hunter's gonna get skated. Yeah, he is. He ended up having to straight pounce down the hallway, and Jockey got shut down, and this is the survivors into the safe room with about a 900-point bonus from this chapter, so very nicely done by them. No major mistakes made on their part. They just kind of aced all the SI on this.
I mean, they absolutely did. Like, they barely took any damage. Like, the most damage I think they took after the tank was that smoke on Bill, and that really wasn't very much, so that was a fantastic chapter by Southstars and exactly what they needed if they want to make up some points on their home server. So now in DP Closeted just has to try to match as much as they can. Like, they don't have to make 900 bonus, but they've got to get pretty damn close if they want a chance at this. And, you know, it's possible. This tank, same thing could happen to Southstars tank, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, once you're looking at the scores, this looks like a pretty decent home game score for Team Southstars, and you realize, oh, that was scored almost entirely on just the one map. Leading into this chapter, they only had like 600-something points, so that's a very strong map played by them. And they are going to try to replicate that on their SI side right now. Charger Spit landing here with that jockey on top of that for a little bit as well. Charger actually did manage to get a slam. That's a ton of damage onto Putty, already down to 53 HP, so massive hit coming out onto the survivors there, and that's a rough start to the survivor side for Team DP Closet.
That absolutely is. We saw that jockey go out on Francis as well, back into that spin, and then he got pulled after. And as you said, like that charge spit on Lucy, that was just so much damage. And, you know, that's rough. Like, this is pre-tank, so already they've taken this much damage pre-tank in the first hit. They still have a whole event to take out. This is going to be rough on them. They don't clean up the survivor play a little bit, but we do have this Hunter going in here. Charger and Boomer as well. Something got shut down. I don't even see what it was. Hunter does land on Zoe for a moment. Booms go out on Lewis. Charger does miss. So overall, better take by Deeply Closeted there.
Yeah. I will have to say that, chat, I appreciate the copy pasta, but Ozzy is not on green ping right now. He's actually playing on 102 ping, so I would appreciate a little bit more accuracy from your copy pastas if you could so kindly do so.
I would also appreciate that. And you know what? If I don't see it with orange ping, I'm going to be very upset. Sue, I'm very upset with you. I saw you do that after we said it, even though you didn't hear it yet. But we do have a hit coming in here. Smoker, Jockey, Hunter, Spitter. A hunt does go out on Zoe. Pull goes out on Bill for just a moment, and then a Jockey goes out in as well. Pretty decent damage for this area going out on Deeply Closeted. I can see that you're texting. Thank you, Chad.
Sorry, I had to type that out.
You're missing the wheelchair emoji.
How am I supposed to type that into Left 4 Dead chat without alt tapping and potentially crashing my game and therefore ruining it?
You cast. I'm doing this. I've got this for you.
Oh god. Okay. There's a 2-boom, and Jockey's going in, and Jockey gets kind of he's missing. There's actually almost a tricep landing. Jockey manages to land. There's a Hunter on top of Francis on top. He's taking a ton of damage. That's a huge amount of damage going out. Flake, come back in. Oh, missing wheelchair. There you go. So, yeah, that was a pretty massive hit going out onto the survivors. It looked like it was going to be a pretty decent take, but then the 2-boom landed, and then, yeah, Charger rolled in and didn't get a lot, but the 2-cap landing with Moscow stuck on the top by himself. And this has been a rough event for the survivors. They're already at lower bonus pre-tank than Team Southstars walked into the safe room with.
I completely missed that hit. They took so much damage. What happened?
Didn't you hear? I very clearly and visually laid out exactly what happened. The fact that you asked that question is honestly appalling. There's a 2-boom landing and a charge spit landing and a double charge, and this is even more disaster.
Oh my god! Oh, Moscow's down!
They have
and
to get a quad. This is just death. Oh my god, this dumpster.
Oh my god!
They had to jump. Yeah, no, this is just wipe again. This is just. They're dead. This is the end. This is dead.
Oh my god! Deeply Closeted. It's just. They're struggling through this right now. We do have that Jockey going out on Lewis. He is going to land, leaving up only Putty and Gate and Bill. He does get hunted, and that's going to be a wipe coming out from Ozzy's tank.
And survivors were not ready for that tank spawn at all. They walked into there. They got double charged with spit on top of it. There was a 2-boom and a smoke in the back. Then the charge spit got the down onto Moscow, and then the boomer quad proxy boomed on top of that, and then the tank, who I didn't even get the chance. I really wanted to go to a Team Southstars war room. I was so ready to send it over, but before I could even say anything, the tank just destroyed everybody, and Domi rolling in with the dumpster, and yeah, there was just nothing the survivors could have done there. I mean, there's things that they could have done prior to the tank spawn, but once the down went out onto Moscow with a quad boom, it was just dead.
Yeah, it was over for them, and that was a fantastically played tank. The Southstars are setting themselves up very well to walk into this away game with a very high deficit, and we are going to see a 64% tank, which I believe is somewhere in the luggage area. Is that?
Yes, that is post-event, once they go into the conveyor belt. And while we're saying this, Team Southstar is shutting down the entire hit without much issue, and the Smoker on the bottom looking for a scratch. They do elect to kill the Smoker instead of leaving him up by himself forever, which is the good guy move. And only 6 damage going out onto that hit.
Another great take by Southstars. They have really picked up their survivor play after map 1 and map 2. And I think we're finally seeing the team that I personally know them to be. We do have a hit coming up for Deeply Closeted here. It is a Spitter, Boomer, Hunter, and Jockey. So a 2-2 with a Hunt Jock. That's not terrible, especially for this area. They can land a lot of damage, especially if they get a stumble in the spit with the Boomer or the Hunter. Looks like that Hunter is pre-spawned in the back. They are starting to go in. Hunter gets nicely skeeted. Jockey gets M2 and shut down, and 2-boom does go out, and Spit doesn't even get a chance to spit. Immediately slaughtered.
Yeah. Everybody shot something different, and all of them were shutdowns except for onto the Boomer. So very nicely done by Team Southstars again, showing the caliber of team that people may have doubted from their first 2 maps, but demonstrating, okay, you know, it was a fluke. The death charge and the wipe with the tricap on map 2, it was a fluke. It's a one-off. It's not happening again. And we're going to prove this by shutting down this quad cap attempt really nicely. right here. Oh, it wasn't a quad cap. There was actually a spitter. Same difference. But they shut it down anyway, so my point stands.
You know, you were bullying me earlier for saying absolutely so much, and now here you are thinking there's a quad cap when there isn't. I see how the tables have turned.
See, you know, like, that's fine.
We're in this together, Kate. We've been doing this all day together. It's you and me, buddy. But that was a very good shutdown by South Stars. They are going to have a Charger, Jockey, Boomer, and Hunter for this next hit. It looks like South Stars are starting to push forward. After killing all of that horde, Hunter is spawned up in the back, just bouncing around, trying to make some noise, scare the survivors a little bit, spook them. Jockey does spawn up as well, so does Charger. Charger does go in and get a nice charge on Lewis. Hunter goes in as well, does not land the DP, does get shut down. Jockey gets shut down as well, and one boom goes out on Bill for another great shutdown by South Stars.
Yeah, that's a solid take, and they were able to. I think it was interesting that the SI elected to go in before the second wave of horde spawned. For those who don't know, when you start this event, it starts with the horde that comes at you underneath or wherever you choose to take it, and then once you walk through the gate, there's a single wave of horde that spawns that is static. But the SI did not elect to hit upon that second wave of horde as it spawned. But we do have this tank up here in the hands of Lucy, for team DB Closeted, and he's going to be rolling in pretty close here. Charger is landing on top of there onto Nuck, and it actually gets a slam on top of that, which is pretty decent. Do we want to send this over to a Survivor War Room?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's send this over to a Team South Stars War Room before this, however they end up taking this on their Survivor half.
Need to spread it a little. Drop for the boom.
Waiting. Following up.
This is dead. Let's go. Nice.
And I'm going to assume that we are back, and that was the tank in the hands of Lucy for Team Deeply Closeted getting nicely destroyed by the Survivor War Room that you just heard. And yeah, really amazing ski by Domi out onto the Hunter. Tank just got shredded by those shotguns out in the open there, and there wasn't a lot that the support could really do to help him, and only a couple punches landing. And once again, similar to last chapter, massive bonus currently sitting with the survivors.
They are currently sitting on a 778 bonus, which is huge for this map. We do have a hit going in here, though. It's going to Hunter getting nicely skied. Charger spawning up at the front. Charger gets shut down. Spit goes down on nothing, and pull lands for just a second, but it's so quickly cleared that it doesn't matter.
As you said, hits coming in here. It's a Hunter, and it was kind of just the Hunter. That was the problem. Was the Hunter went in without, and the rest of the SI, I don't think we're quite ready on that attack, and they need to be securing some more damage on these hits. And we have a Boomer pre-spawn way in the back, and there's just no hope of him landing. And SI are looking for some kind of chip damage out on the survivors, but they're going to walk in. This charge is going to have absolutely no hope of anything. This Boomer is waddled in to get a despawn, and it gets shut down, obviously. And this is another massive chapter, bringing the total of this Dead Air campaign for Team South Stars up to 3,386, which is a pretty sizable campaign, notwithstanding the fact that they only got about 700-something points on the first two maps.
Absolutely. I mean, they've made up so many points they need to make up on map 3 and map 4. And I'm unsure if they are doing finale. I assume not, as this is home away. And I don't think anybody wants to play 10 maps in a row, but you never know. They might decide to, and if they do, we'll be here to cast it. But this is definitely what South Stars needed. And now what DB Closeted has to do, if they want any chance in this, is they have to ace that tank, just like South Stars did, and then make a similar bonus just so they can have a chance on their home server. But we do have a Jockey, Charger, Smoker, Boomer for this first hit. Looks like South Stars is using to go in now. Pull is going to go out on Zoe, quickly cleared. Charger gets one punch, but quickly shut down. Jockey goes in, and nothing really happens, and that is a good shutdown by DB Closeted.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see them make it into the safe room with a decent bonus because right now they're sitting at a deficit of 2,500 points before their survivor round, and I would not want to have to see them try to overcome a 2,000 something point going into their home server. If you're looking at even 1,500, it's pretty doable. But once you start entering into the 2,000 point deficit range against a team like South Stars, it becomes really difficult. Decent hit coming out here by Team Southstars. Charger actually came in pretty late, but managed to land anyway, but doesn't quite connect all the way for the damage. So that's actually what looked like it was going to be fairly grim, turned into a pretty solid take by the survivors onto that hit.
Yeah, I mean, they ate a lot, but they cleared everything quick enough that it didn't really end up mattering. And if you can do that, then it's fine. Like, you don't have to shut down and frag out on every single thing that comes in. If you can just clear it, you're all good. We do have a Hunter, Smoker, Boomer, Jockey in the rotation right now. Looks like everything is spawned up above. Smoker is going to go and land on Lewis for just a moment, and then Boom's going to go on and well. We're going to have a 2-cap in the back on Lewis and Francis with the Hunter and Jockey. It's going to be a lot of damage on Bill.
That Hunter clear was very slow, and Lucy there taking a ton of damage. And yeah, that's going to be Bill going slow already before the tank. And that's not what you want to see. You want to see going into the tank fight with maximum health and nobody bleeding, if possible. Still absolutely, sitting at a bonus that they can absolutely make it in with. I wasn't mocking you, I swear. I just caught myself saying absolutely a lot. So I had to point it. Charger actually managing to land there out on to Francis, but the spit wasn't able to connect with that. And Boomer scores a bit, just a 1 boom at the end of that hit there, but pretty nicely taken there.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing positive, I'm happy with that take. It was really only that Hunter that landed that really did all of that damage. They're sitting in an okay position right now for this tank. If they can ace it like South Stars did, they'll be fine. They're going to be going into their home server with a bit of a deficit, but nothing out of the realm of possibility. They are going to have a Spitter, Jockey, Hunter, and Charger for this tank hit. Looks like they are setting up to go on the tank spawn, if I am correct. And of course, the odds of me being wrong are very high, as I can never read what these teams are doing. We do have that Hunter pre-spawned. He is in the front, so I imagine they will be going on the tank spawn. Bill is trying to pick that, looks like. Hunter's trying to scare him back, and he's able to. Charger does spawn up in the back, though. Does not land, but the Bill does get hunted, and stick goes down on that. Jockey does get shut down, so that's a little bit of damage on Lucy, but, they are able to get the tank up then in the hands of Loud.
You know what, since we were unable to do South Stars War Room for the first maps of this game, I'd be interested to hear their SI War Room, just so that we can have their perspective here for this, because so much happened earlier on that we weren't able to hear it. So how about we send it over to a South Stars special effective War Room, see how they prep the last tank of their home game.
Let's go.
Don't get stuck on. Be careful.
Did you cross?
Yeah, cross. Can I despawn?
Yeah,
Save the smoker actually.
no, it's good for the tank.
It's really good on that spot. Yeah, I can despawn. You want me to pull this guy when you come in? I'm gonna kite towards the open area, not the darker.
Yo, Nugget's gonna pull, so you just jump to the... Oh,
Yeah, go for it.
Nice.
One more. This corner here.
Wait.
Let's go.
Let's go now.
Oh, Magnum on the smoker.
Magnum. Oh, I wasn't close enough.
He's about to clear the counter guy.
Nah.
Counter guy.
Died.
I wasn't close enough, bro. One charger, one dream. Oh, is he charger?
I'm running.
Come on, I'm
And we are back after the tank in the hands of Loud. We saw him get 2 downs on his own, and then that Hunter landing on Francis and Zoe getting smoked, but the Deagle getting the very, very, very clutch clear on Zoe, preventing the wipe. The power of a downed Deagle. That was a very good tank, though. What do you think of the K3?
Yeah, I think that was the closest to a wipe that you can pretty much get without it being wiped, because there was a 2-cap that landed and 2 survivors that were already in-capped, which is, in most circumstances, would be a guaranteed wipe if it wasn't for that Deagle that was on the ground. And it might still turn into a wipe with this Tri-Boom and the Spitter up and looking for delays and stuff like that. And Putty's on the ground, almost dying out here, and there's another in-cap going out here, so they are not out of the water just yet. In fact, they're very much in the acid water from the Spitter, and now Putty has died. This is actually probably still going to turn out to be a wipe here, all off of the original tank fight from Loud and the rest of Team Southstars, who got, I think, personally, I thought way more damage than they should have gotten on that tank fight. I think that the survivors elected to take the tank underneath, which gives the tank a much easier commit path onto the survivors, as opposed to if you're standing out in the middle here, and then you can react and kite a lot better. Whereas you can, if you're underneath, you can only hold S and into the corner, and it basically gave Loud a free corner before the SI support had to come in. And from there, it just went downhill. And if you're on that high ping, it's going to be hard to shut down that all-important support. And that's a ton of damage and essentially a wipe. And now we're looking at an over 2,000 point lead that Team Southstars are going to have going into their away server.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we just see this down going out on Lewis and Zoe getting pulled in the back, also going down. Only leaving up Lucy at this point. All 3 of them are going to be black and white, if they can even get each other up. Zoe is taking so much horde damage that they may not be able to get her up. We do have the spawn of Ozzy coming up with that charger. Looks like he is going to choose to try to go and get that charge. He is going to get the charge on Lewis and not get the slam, actually. So that is, so he's still down though, and they have 3 spawns up, so this is not looking good for Deep Positive.
Yeah, this is looking like they do something really quick. That's going to be the wipe, and Lewis is going to die here. Yeah, there's no hope. And now Lucy admitting defeats on this and is going to take the knee and get wipes, and that will be a final score of 982 to 3,386 for the first half of this game here. And we are going to have to see Team Deeply Closeted put on a real hell of a show on their Survivor halves and their special affected halves on their home game if they're going to want to stay in this. And against a team like Southstars, all of whom are extremely experienced on playing with high ping, it's going to be a difficult task to say the least.
I am finding out if they are going to do an away game for South. I imagine they will, and I hope they will, because I would love to keep casting, but if they don't, that's fine too. But I will find out, and I will.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to do it, because even if you don't have a lot of faith that you can pull out the win, it's always just good practice. Like, playing in a tournament match is the best practice that you can ever get. So if I'm Team Deeply Closeted, I would like to see them play it for sure.
I got a resounding I guess from Lucy, so I imagine that we will get one.
That doesn't sound very confident, but I'm glad to hear that there's going to be the second game being played. You don't like to hear people throwing in the towel on especially if you're only playing your away server first. So we will be seeing the teams loading into the North American server.
And like you're saying, like it's so important to just play out the matches, get that practice. You don't always get the opportunity to play against teams that are at the level of Southstar. So learning what you might be doing wrong, what they're doing right, and how you can imitate that, that's a great way to learn, and it's a great way to improve as a team. As long as you go into it with a good attitude, knowing that, hey, we might not win, but we're going to learn something, that's the best way to grow in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Team Deeply Closeted had a phenomenal first 2 maps on their Survivor. Death Charge coming out on map 1, amazing tri-cap in the room coming out on map 2. They weren't able to quite pull together on the Survivor sides, I think, on each of the maps. They just ran into a couple of hits that they weren't quite ready for, and took a lot of pre-tank damage, which was not able to allow them to make a lot of points on those maps. That being said, their SI coordination for the most part was pretty on point for the majority of the game. There's just a couple of small fixes to have, and I think that they could definitely bring this a lot closer on their home server.
It appears we are trying to get a Chicago server right now, but 2 pugs are happening, and somebody's winning.
Kick them off, sir. Boot the server.
Sir, we need you.
Okay, so here's what's been on my mind. If you're in like a very public tournament and your team name is deeply closeted, doesn't that immediately out yourself from the closet?
A fair point. I'm gonna have to consider that.
I'm just saying it's a little paradoxical.
Perhaps it's some kind of social statement about the fact that, you know, LGBT people have to come out of the closet or be deeply closeted. Maybe it's this grand paradoxical social statement about removing the closet. Who knows?
That is an extremely adept analysis, and I like the way that you speak about that. There shouldn't have to be a closet in the person. That is that's the most woke thing I've heard in the last month, I think.
It's my major. I study this stuff. I won't lecture chat about it too much. Although if you ever want to hear about it, hit me up. I'd love to talk about it.
Radical. So I think we're just trying to kick people out of a 1v1 so that we can play this match. Because there's one thing that we know is that the patience of the players are going to dwindle quickly. And we're already seeing resident sleepers in chat. Oh, this is not what you want to see.
Chat, how can we entertain you? We will do our best right now. In the meantime, if you want to bully Sir, anybody that can get Sir to kick these people from the 1v1, I will give you the 5 cents in my bank account right now. Big offer right now.
Oh man, we need those 5 cents so that you can have an energy drink for your next match. Chill out, dude.
Y'all are gonna donate enough for me to get a monsters when I don't play? No, Sir's not responding to me. Oh no, oh no. Should I just invade one of the pug servers and be like, hey, we need this?
Is there any that's on like a map that's almost over? Let's see here. Parish 3. Honestly, I'd sooner kick the people that just started their Dark Harmony pug.
I'm loading into the Parish 3 game. I'm gonna see who it is, and if they're people that I know, I'm gonna be like, hey, get.
I wonder if they maybe are gonna compromise and maybe do New York or something, but that would kind of suck if they, because I mean, if you choose your home server, you should be able, I say you kick the people out of the 1v1, but things that you can't join the 1v1 server right now because the slots are full.
Alright, let's check the Start Carnival game. Let's see what's going on in there. I know a couple of people on the Parish one. I might be able to get them lead. We're making this happen, boys and girls. We're doing it for you guys. Oh yeah, we can't join the server because they limited slots to 4, so we don't know who's in there.
Yeah, this is there's the rub. A notice to all you avid Sita puggers out there: if there is a match going on and someone comes into the server saying we need this for a match, it is always extremely appreciated by the majority, not everyone, but the majority of the community, if you vacate the server promptly for e.g. get the fuck out and allow the match to be played, so that your resident streamers and casters and tournament rosteries can go and potentially go to bed or eat dinner because I'm starving.
I'm getting mixed responses in this server. Ah, they're leaving! I did it!
Oh my god, Blake the Savior.
I got us the server, boys!
Hell yeah. And the MVP coming out of here helps them vacate the server, and we do now have a Chicago server available.
Nobody could say I didn't do anything for this tournament.
Is this the Dark Carnival server that you
Yeah.
got? Damn. Who was in there? Who did you kick out?
The only one I recognize is Gay Kid.
Oh, okay.
They're
Dude.
really nice about it.
Dude, all you know is that you can't abuse this power. You gotta, never. It's tempting, you just join a server and say, hey, can we use this for a match? And then people are like, you know what? Yeah, let's let them use it for a match. And then you just never play a match on it. That's honestly the ultimate pug strategy. If you end up with a team that you don't like, just say like, hey, just message your friends and say like, hey, can you tag up with your tournament tag and enter the server and ask if we can use it for a match, so that I don't have to play this pug. That's like the next level metagame for this game, I think.
Well, I know what I'm doing next time. That's genius. I can't believe I've never thought of this before.
Totally, yeah. It's like, man, you better not vote me as captain, because otherwise I'm going to end this game. Granted, I think there's quicker ways to end the Zeta Pog. You could probably just leave and take the 2-day ban. But I'm not promoting or encouraging this kind of behavior. I'm merely saying that it's an unexplored metagame that I think has potential.
K3 and I just cracked up something open big, boys and girls. Zeta Pug, watch out. All of them are about to end for tournament matches. When there's no tournament match happening, it's over for you guys. We're not going to pug.
So this is currently on a 2v2. I'm in here with Slay. Wait, are you in a different server than I am? Are you in a server right now?
Yeah, we're in Chicago too.
Oh, I'm in Chicago 3 with Slay. And, okay. So are they loading into the server that you're in?
Vanille and Lucy and I are in here.
Okay.
All right,
I'm not
Vanille
sure.
and Petty.
Yeah, I'm not sure which, I'm just gonna leave this one. And trust that the one that you're in is the one that they're going.
I worked very hard to get the server. If we don't use it, I'm going to feel terrible. Alright, cool. Just looks like everything is set. We have scores set. We have 10%. Oh, what a nice guy. You love to see it. Love the two community coming together to make a tournament match happen.
Awesome. To anyone who was in that game, thank you very much for being the people that we needed you to be and not potentially ruin this cast and this game. And so that we will get to see this game play out the way it is intended.
We are now just waiting on both teams to get into this server, and hopefully we can get this going. I'm excited because, the class that they still have a chance. Like, it's a pretty big score differential, but they could pull this out in a shocker.
Yeah, no, totally. I actually have seen crazier things happen in this game. It hasn't been extremely common, but I have seen a couple games where it's like one team kind of gets destroyed on their home server and absolutely destroys on their away server. It's totally not uncommon at all. I mean, I think that's going to be tough against Team Southstars because they are quite adept on the high ping. And the ping that they're going to have is not even that abysmal. It's going to be anywhere between probably, like 120 and like 170 ping or so is my guess. And, it's not good, but it's very much playable, especially for people who have played on it for many, many matches. I mean, you look at players like Knock, and Knock has played on a couple of my North American-based teams, so his home servers were based in North America, and he would already be playing at 160 plus ping. Then we'd play on the away servers on European, and he'd be on well over 200. So playing on an average of 170 ping per game, he was still kicking ass and carrying us, honestly. So, if you're playing with that kind of A-class, S-tier type of ping play, it's hard to fight against.
It absolutely is. And, with teams that are used to playing on higher ping, like you said, this can be scary. So South Stars could really run away with this. It's possible. You never know what's going to happen. But I'm excited to see it. We do have our teams loading into server right now. It looks like Moscow is requesting that we do play Dark Carnival. Unfortunately, we are unable to. I don't even think Dark Carnival is in the map pool, but they just said for Haunted Forest, and I would rather drink bleach than watch another Haunted Forest game.
Yeah, I honestly don't expect Haunted Forest to ever be played again in the tournament. Not saying that it was a terrible call for this tournament, just saying that in general, I think that in the future, I don't even think. I think that it's run its competitive community course. So, rest in peace, Haunted Forest. That being said, in 2 weeks, I Hate Mountains is the map to be played. And I think that is a map that only a handful of people in the community know with any amount of depth. And so everyone's going to be kind of figuring it out as they go. So I think that's going to be a very fun week to watch, regardless of the level of play that occurs.
I don't know if anybody's going to enjoy watching I Hate Mountains. I don't know if anybody enjoys playing it either, but I am looking forward to it solely to hear the misery. But next week we do have Dead Center, which I think is it's a map that I don't think is played nearly as often as it should be for how interesting it can be and competitive. But I am curious to hear your thoughts on it while we wait for this.
My thoughts on Dead Center. I don't know, man. It's like, honestly, I've never really liked it. That's just personal opinion. I think that the map has merit. It's honestly just personal taste that I'm not really a fan of the way that Dead Center is built. Map 1, I think, is kind of like, if you like, the difference between a late tank and an early tank is huge, and then you've got all this, just every single hit is either charge spit or a death charge attempt on up until you get to the bottom, where the rest of the map is pretty free for the most part, other than the tank fight. And if you fight any tank, it's extremely easy to get at least a corner or multiple downs, and then it's just, the map 1 is really messy. I think map 2 is the best map of the campaign, just because there's hittables that can mitigate the fact that it's so wide open. There's a couple of interesting-ish tank fights, but overall I think it's fairly survivor-sided. Map 3, I think, is honestly, like, some people like map 3, but I'm not really a big fan of it, just because there's so many really easy tank fight spots that it's so hard to do a lot with the SI, other than like the couple of tight corridors where you can maybe land some big spit hits, and a couple choke points, like if you're going down an escalator, maybe you eat a boom and a tri-cap or something like that. But I think that map is just, it's worth so many points, and it's very survivor-sided that it can completely, just that one map alone is typically like so important for the whole game that it can skew it very quickly if one team makes a mistake. And then you've got Finale, which is just, can get pretty messy, and like the tanks should be, in theory, fairly easy to kill, but there's so much separation when you're doing the scavenge. I don't hate the Finale. I think it's better than like, say, most holdout finales, but I've never been a big fan of Dead Center. That being said, I think there's a lot of interesting strategies and unexplored territory with it that can be looked into, and I'm interested to see the way that especially the stronger teams end up deciding to play that map next week. There is my in-depth review of Dead Center. I give it a solid C+ tier on the map tier list.
We love to hear it. It's so exciting. I am personally excited for Dead Center. I get very tired of playing and watching Dark Carnival perish in Hard Rain over and over and over again. So a non-custom map, so it's a map that I kind of know, it's decently fun. It's not like No Mercy, where there's no mercy. That's enough that needs to be said about that. I think it's got some pretty interesting mechanics. I am a huge fan of Scavenge. I played a lot of Scavenge before I came into competitive, actually. So I have a very soft spot for Scavenge. So I think it's a pretty cool map. I'm excited to see how the teams play it out. And I'm excited to see how this match plays out. Looks like the first hit is going to be a Jockey Smoker Charger Boomer for Deeply Closeted Uninfected. We've set the scores, we've set the tank. We are good to go. Looks like the survivors are just now pushing forward. Trying to clear out a little bit of common, being very careful. They know they're on higher ping this time, so they're going to have to play a little bit more carefully. I believe Ozzy actually has less ping than he did on South American server, which is interesting. Francis has now pushed out, and looks like he's trying to block the side spawn. Bill is pushed out as well. Zoe and Lewis are still in the back. They're just clearing out all the common on that second roof. Just playing very patiently, which this is the way to take the set. They know there's a charger up. They know they can get death charged. If they're not careful, we might see another death charge. It looks like they are now starting to push forward. That Boomer is going to very nice B-hop in. Does get a boom on Lewis. Francis does get pulled in the back.
Okay.
Looks like that charger is going in, looking for that death charge on Bill, but does get nicely shut down. Jockey gets shut down as well, and that is a good shutdown from Southstars.
With that smoker, for a second I thought he was going to maybe pull him into a death charge spot, but they were able to get the clear quickly enough. Thankfully, I was not ready to see one of my boys on Southstars get death charged again to start up. I mean, it would have been hype because it gives a good opportunity for Team Gaza to make the comeback. Honestly, I'm kind of done with dead air death charges at this point. I've seen my fair share. But we do have this tank up for Team Deeply Closeted in the hands of Badfish, and a decent shutdown onto the Boomer going out there. And it looks like Badfish is probably just going to try to avoid most chip here for this tank, and is now going to rotate over, probably looking to commit on the bottom here. It's interesting, Team Southstars seem to elect to not commit from the top and always go from the bottom here. So interesting decision making there, and we're going to see the Flicker coming up here. He does have a pretty good setup for this, and as I say that, I guess I was completely wrong. Badfish in actually electing to go on top of the greenhouse, looking to try to drop in on top of one of the survivors and catch them off guard. He is going to manage to get all the way into the safe room. Survivor's doing a great job of catching so far. It looks like he's going to get Francis in the corner, and that will be a down out onto the Francis unless he can get out. He's going to have to... Actually, Francis does manage to get out, and the entirety of the support... I blinked, and the entire support was dead. And the Survivor's going to have no problems taking out the rest of this tank. That was a very strong take by Team Southstars onto the tank there. Wow.
They shut down all of the support. Like you said, you blinked and they were gone. I was watching the tank, and then I turn, and the support is gone, and he has lost his corner. And now they have maybe one more hit before safe room. So fantastic job done by Southstars there. Looks like they are now just being very aggressive, pushing ahead, clearing a little bit of common before they do. They know a hit is up. It is going to be a Boomer, Charger, Spitter, Smoker. So this can be a very dangerous hit. And this can be where Deeply Closeted picks up a little bit more damage, kind of knocks off that bonus a little bit more. We do have that Boomer going in, getting a nice 2-boom. Smoker does go in and miss. Charger misses as well. Spit goes down on nothing. And that is going to be another shutdown by... No? Okay. That will be a shutdown by Southstars. Smoker baited me.
Damn, this is going to be... They are currently sitting at 81% total bonus from the map on their away server, showing exactly, as I said, their prowess on the high ping. And they really didn't take much damage. They took essentially 0 damage at all for the entire map, other than the 3 tank punches that Badfish got. Moscow currently sitting at 0 points on the SI side for his first map on his home server, which is unfortunate. Very, very, very nicely taken by the survivor side of Team Southstars with a 528 out of a possible 660 bonus, which is pretty redonkulous if you ask me. That puts the score delta up to... Not only do Team Deeply Closeted have to score 3,300 points, they also have to stop. That's on top of whatever Team Southstars make up with the rest of their game here. And clearly they're showing that they can make a lot of points.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is 80% of their health bonus. That is a monster health bonus, especially for map 1. And that is what Southstars need if they want to keep their lead. And if they can keep that up, they're going to run away with this pretty handily. But if Deeply Closeted plays this well, they could just as well come back. we do have a Jockey Smoker Boomer Charger, so a very, very good setup for that Death Charge. Looks like that Boomer is set up in the safe room. Might be waiting for the tank, actually. With the rest, no, he's moving. All right. Rest of the SI are set up just around the roofs, on top of them. They are just clearing common right now. Smoker is set up forward, actually. Might try to get a pull forward maybe on Zoe when the tank spawns. Maybe get a Death Charge off of that. We do have the tank up in the hands of Domi. Smoker goes out, does not really manage to land anything. Charger spawns up, gets a charge on Bill, and a boom is going to go out on that. No slam, but good 10 damage. And why don't we run this over to a South Stars War Room?
I would love to hear that. Let's go, Bruno.
They think ammo out there.
What do you want for the tank? Tri-cap or boomer?
Tri-cap.
Sounds good.
He's fine. I'm gonna
Set
go
up
in.
the stuff.
Let me getting. Please smoke on the window. They won't expect. Oh, you baited me. Let's help him. Let's help.
Getting to me.
Nice.
Oh,
You
one
gotta
down.
make up.
That's what it-
Same HP.
The duo should
There
have
is-
supported early because they all just ran back real quick.
He's fine. You guys can hit. If you want.
Now go.
He's going.
You guys go.
Sure.
And we are back. That was the War Room for Team South Stars in the hands of Domi with that tank. Manages to get a down out onto Bill, but not a whole lot else. So overall, pretty decently taken, but not quite hitting the standard that Team South Stars set for their Survivor side. And they're sitting at slightly less bonus than Team South Stars walking to the safe room with this last hit of the map coming out here pretty quickly. So pretty decently taken there.
Absolutely. I think, you know, he got that down. He got some damage on Lewis. That's kind of what you expect from that tank. It usually doesn't do a whole lot. So if I'm deeply closeted, I'm okay with that. And if I'm South Stars, I'm more than okay with that because they beat their bonus. So this just deeply closeted in even worse position. And we do have a hit going in here. We do have a 2-cap landing there on Lewis and Francis and Zoe and the jockey in the spit. That was a lot of damage.
And that's another 100 points off the bonus right there, and they're gonna have to go quickly. Zoe's kind of caught behind, and it looks like because Zoe got caught back there, they might have a chance for another scattered hit here. There's still a bit separated. They've got to move fast. Unfortunately, it is a boomer in the rotation. Won't be able to stop them, so the survivors are gonna actually be able to roll in here, just barely. 4 damage stumble coming out from the charger onto 2 of the survivors, but that will be the survivors walking to the safe room with a bonus of 340, so not quite as astronomical as what South Stars got, but still a solid map. Not putting them completely out of contention to take this game, but they're going to really, really need to get their SI to prevent South Stars from getting any points in these next chapters because they're staring down a deficit of almost like 2,600 points that they have to make up now in 3 maps.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, with this, what I believe, name set tank. With that 37 tank, you know, we saw last time how horrifically it went for both teams. So TP Closet needs to have a much better take of this, and if they can recreate what happened last time, they're going to be great. They're going to be in a good position. If they can make some bonus on this, that is the first step to coming back, and that's what it's going to take right now. They're going to need a very, very good tank. And, you know, again, we saw it last time where somebody got death punched and there was a tri-cap and it was all just kind of messy. It's a very messy tank, but if they can kind of reel it in, they're going to be just fine.
Yeah, it's not impossible. I'd say this is the hardest tank possible out of all of them in this map to come out of with a lot of bonus left. It's definitely not impossible, but it's like, I think that actually both of the tank spawns for these next 2 chapters are probably the hardest to make a lot of bonus with. So the pressure is going to be on Team Deeply Closeted to really have strong survivor rounds to just absolutely shut down these potentially long arm tanks that the South Stars are going to have. We do have a nice setup for this attack here. It's going to go in here looking for a spit. It's going to land on the ladder there, but doesn't quite spread ideally. It gets about 30, actually a ton. What the heck? I didn't even notice, but looked like Francis had trouble getting out of that spit and gets a solid 40 damage on to Ozzy there of free spit damage, even though none of the other SI were able to land.
Spitters are so confusing and they're elusive creatures and I don't understand them, but you know what? I'm going to take 42 free damage. We do have the tank up in the hands of Moscow here. Boomer does get nicely popped. Charger tries to go in. It's not able to land anything. That is just going to leave a Hunter in the hands of Badfish, who goes in, gets him 2 and shut down. So with Moscow's tank here, I imagine that he's looking for possibly like a Jockey, Charger, I would say Hunter, but they did kill a Hunter, so I don't know what that third spawn's going to be.
Yeah, so we do see Moscow is electing to go in from the Kappa. He is going to. It was unfortunate that Moscow was the boomer on that transition hit. They were looking for that, the type of quad boom that would prevent them from going and transitioning backward to this room easily for free, but unfortunately, Moscow was the boomer and wasn't able to stop them before he switched over to tank control. They do have a one boom sack going out there, which is going to cause maybe a bit of struggle horde, but they are actually looking for chip on this tank, and he is taking decent chip before he's able to climb up this ladder. That will be 10% of the tank's HP before he can get in there. Looking for a quick corner, whips his first punch, and Bill is body blocking him. That's not going to need to help up pretty quickly. This tank is already down to 20% health. Tank is getting destroyed very quickly here. Tank's already almost dead. 2-cap landing, but the charge doesn't quite land, so the tank is going to die out here, but that's pretty solid damage and spread onto the survivors. Not quite the wipe that they were looking for, but I mean, that's still, like, overall pretty solid damage, but they need to get wipes because they cannot let South Stars continue to make safe rooms on their airway server.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he hit a lot of great doubles. That support was really good. It was just that Charger just not being able to land that really prevented that wipe. And if they had gotten that trike out, they're in a much better position. But look at how much damage they've taken. Look at the health bonus that they have. They have a lot of work to do on that damage bonus, but it's not hard to take down that damage bonus when they're in this position. It looks like the survivors are hitting the event. They're not going to hold it out in the room. They don't really have the HP for it. They know that. They're just going to bleed a lot. So they are going to try to rush this as quickly as possible. We do have a Smoker, Hunter, Spitter, and one more spawn coming up in the rotation. That is going to be a Charger, so there's a possibility of a Death Charge here. Hunter is set up on the roof. Looks like they are going to start going in now. Hunter does get a blind on Francis. Zoe gets charged. Oh, that was so close to a Death Charge.
I think that Charger got in there pretty quickly. I think he actually could have lined up a double charge off the top there if he had spent a tiny bit longer lining it up. That being said, he almost landed a crazy death charge down the side there. That would have been the craziest death charge angle I've seen in my entire life if it landed. Regardless, still solid damage there on taking down the last remainder of their permanent health bonus for the most part, other than the tiny bit sitting on loud. And the rest is just this damage bonus that they're going to hopefully be able to eliminate before South Stars make it to the save room. Because if they make it in with the 300 bonus that they have now, it's really starting to close this chapter of this game.
We do see another very nice shutdown coming out from South Stars there. From that hit, they're just able to make a little bit more distance. They don't have too much to speak of, just under 300, I believe, if I can do math correctly. But they're already in the lead. They're just extending their lead even more if Deeply Closeted isn't able to at least match it or beat it. And so Deeply Closeted is now being put in a very awkward position. They do have a Spitter, Charger, Jockey, Boomer up for this next hit, and that can do a lot of damage in this area. We do see that Boomer going and getting a nice 2-boom. Looks like the rest of the SI are choosing to hold, though. Looks they may be wanting to go to the bottom. Nope, they do have the Jockey going in, landing on Francis. Charger goes in, is not able to land, but does stumble, so that Jockey can get a little bit more damage. Francis is stuck in spit for a moment, and he does go down from that. So is a pretty good hit from Deeply Closeted.
Very unlucky spread on top of the railing. Ozzy tried to escape it, but just the man could not escape the spit on the railing there. taking down almost all of they lost about 200 points on that last hit from all that spitter damage on. Just going to show how volatile the damage bonus can be. It's just like one charge spit stumble, not even a full charge spit landing, and that's pretty much all of the damage bonus gone. They are going to trigger this alarm car. I'm not sure if that was on purpose from Ozzy to try to hold it out to eliminate the future car alarm potential, or if it was just a complete accident. I'm leaning toward the latter. But we are going to see this Boomer coming in here, getting shut down. Hunter's going to go in for some kind of miracle DP, but there's no way this is going to land at all. He is going to land the Hunter, but not the DP. Jockey going out on the front onto Zoe for a bit of damage. Smoker's going to get cleared off, and that will be the last hit of this map for the Special Infected, and Survivors will be walking to the safe room, it looks like, with about a 68 bonus, which is pretty minimal bonus, but the fact that the Survivors are walking into the safe room at all is not what Deeply Closeted wants.
For sure. They are going to be able to walk into the safe room with 68 bonus. So, you know, it's something. They're just extending their lead even more. That's going to put DB Closeted at a 3,200 deficit? 2,200?
Currently sitting at a deficit of 3,260 points that they need to make up in 3 maps, plus whatever Team Southstars make on their next 2 maps. So yeah, that's rough. That, like, 3,200 points in 3 maps is already a pretty monstrous score. But, you know, on top of the fact that Team Southstars have 2 more maps of their Survivors have to play is extremely daunting. We have a nice tri-boom landing from Loud onto the Survivors there. I think that's just going to be a sack delay so that they can have a spit set up for the... And I'm completely wrong about that, clearly, because they are going to be going in on the Survivors. Smokers and Spit and Hunter all landing in that room for pretty sizable damage out, actually, onto the Survivors. So, nice spur-of-the-moment decision to actually elect to hit there and not wait for the ladder, and ended up getting a lot of damage for it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can see the damage that they've already done. It's not, 42 free spit damage, but, everything landed, everything got a little bit of damage, and they're all kind of... I think they're all 4 punches now, except for maybe Bill. So I would take that. We do have a 2-boom going out here. Charger going for Lewis in the back, not able to land, but we do have a 2-cap on Zoe and Francis with a Hunter and a Jockey, and Francis is getting taken into that tank.
He's gonna get a ledge cap. He might get a ledge cap with this. And the tank is spawned! And the tank is going to be really close. They're going to go in for this. If they do not get this pickup right now, they're going to just die. I don't think they can... Are they going to be able to get back to the room, or will they get intercepted by a Hunter and Charger? I think they have to go to the dark room. They have to go to the dark room right now, or else they're going to get intercepted by this Boomer and everything, and this is going to be really rough. And this is going to be the... No, this is it. This is the wipe. This is the tri-boom. This is it for Team DP Closeted on this map. They had to go into that dark room. If they didn't go into the dark room, it gave the SI just too much time to set up. And this is... I knew that Charger was setting up for it, and the Boomer and everything. And they tried to go all the way back to that, the way back room, and they just weren't able to get there in time. And that's just going to be a complete wipe within seconds. Loud still sitting at thousands of health with that tank, and that's one of the fastest wipes I've seen in a long time.
Lord, everything happened so quickly. We saw that ledge hang going out on Francis from that Jockey, and he was ledge hung in a place that I've never seen a Survivor ledge hung before. And when he got picked up, he was on the other side of the wall. So I would just like to point that out, that this game is extremely broken, and I don't know why we still play it, but we do. So that was interesting. And then, like you said, like that was just very, very well coordinated SI. Like we saw that tri-boom go out, we saw that Charger from the back, the smoke forward, and the tank capitalized on all of that very well. And they were able to get the wipe because of it. And so now Deeply Closeted even further behind, and I'm afraid that they probably can't come back from that.
Yeah, this is just too much at this point. Now they only have 2 maps to score this much. It's already almost mathematically impossible to do. So, yeah, very nicely done by the Shasha Southstars. They've pretty much secured the win at this point. Playing it out for practice and content's sake. But yeah, that's going to pretty much seal this. I think that, yeah, they need to be a bit more careful around that tank spawn. They just got pretty much almost very similar thing to what happened to them last time. Just Boomer and Jockey just screwed everything up and intercepted them on the run back. I think that it was a mistake to let the person get jockeyed up that far into the front in the first place, but they were able to maybe recover if they went into the dark room on the side. But there was just no way that they were getting all the way back to that gun room in time to fight the tank without SI having the ability to cut them off, and that's exactly what we saw happen. And once the 2-boom and the double charge landed and everything, it was just an instant wipe, and there was no hope for them to recover from that. So very nicely capitalized by the SI of South Stars, noticing the mistake and punishing very hard for it.
And South Stars have really picked up their survivor play since map 1 and map 2 of their away game, or their home game, excuse me. As we've seen, because those first 2 maps were rough for both sides. We saw death charges, we saw pretty fast tank wipes, but now South Stars are pretty reliably making safe rooms. They're shutting down hits very well, and they're showing why they are seeded so high. For this first hit, though, we do have a Smoker Boomer Charger Hunter. Looks like that Boomer is spawning up, does get a 1-boom. Charger is going to go and get immediately melted. Hunter is going to go and try to bounce around. Smoker does get a pull, but quickly cleared. Looks like that Smoker is going for another pull, but quickly cleared yet again. Boomer is still up, just kind of chilling up there. Hunter is pouncing around in the back, maybe trying to go for a DP over here. It looks like he is going for it. Almost gets that very sneaky DP on Zoe.
Yeah, and now their spawns are pretty separated. We do have, because that Boomer went in late, and now they're just kind of throwing the SI in, and that's going to make their next hit very, very separated because they all died at very different times. So the survivors are going to get a free transition over to this back scaffolding where they're going to fight the horde off, I believe, unless they elect to take a hit here like they did last time. It looks like that's actually exactly what they're going to do, and they're going to fight the first hit of the horde over here, so that they don't get caught going across this this plank of death with the hit up.
Oh, we do see the jockey landing on Bill, and then the Charger taking that, but Spit unfortunately hits the water tower there and does not go down on it. That was a great Charger, though. Great cover by that Charger, and well, great idea to take that jockey target. Fortunately, Spit missed, but damage is damage.
Is that a water tower? There's no way it's the water tower. That's just part of the scaffolding, my man.
Oh, I looked up. I saw like a vaguely water tower shaped thing, and I was like, "That's a water tower."
Geometrically, it's got that shape for sure. But regardless, yeah, the Spit did hit something, a metal beam of sorts, and was unable to connect with the charge. They are going to have to keep throwing these hits in here before this tank spawns, get their health down a little bit more. There is a nice 22 damage pouch landing up, and a very, very nice double charge landing. This is very much better than the hits that they were able to land on their away server in this area. That was a nice DP, as well as a great double charge. Loud took a ton of fall damage from that double charge there. So, very nice hit there. That's what they needed to do.
I am very surprised that wasn't an in-cap charge, actually. I thought Loud was going to take that in-cap there, but fortunately, it was just a fair bit of fall damage. So that is really the SI that PP Closeted should have had like the whole game. If they want to like really win these matches, that's what they're going to have to play like. So the makings of it are there. They just have a little bit more work to do. We did see that boom go in, get a 1-boom. Jockey does go in, get M2'd and shut down. Hunter looks like he's going for that DP, but against those 2 shotguns that are both staring at it, I would be very scared. Looks like he is actually just going to wait, though, for his other 2 spawns.
Yeah, I think that I would like to see them try to get a good setup for the alley hit, because we saw what happened to Team PP Closeted on their home server, or on their away server, rather, when they were in that alleyway spawning that tank up. And they should realize how dangerous it is. And it looks like they are going to save for this alley hit during the tank spawn, trying to get some kind of separation and allow the tank to commit in there with the dumpster. So I'm going to be interested to see how this happens. And how about we actually send it over to a Team Southstar Survivor War Room for this tank fight?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can I get pulled?
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna need builds.
Reloading. Grabbing peels.
Cause I took mine.
Dumbass.
You should have taken. Same thing.
I'm
I'm gonna watch the boomer below.
gonna watch below.
I'm gonna watch the little corner on the left.
Low, take the UC to ship the tank. Watch below.
Can't even see him.
No, same. There it is.
You might get prods, you know. Careful. Ooh. Spooky. There's a dumpster in the back. In the behind us, there is a dumpster. Loud, loud.
Oh, I got boomed.
Oh.
I'm so hard, man. I got jacket. Right by the dumpster.
Which is really low. Is that
He's dead.
We are back from the Sunstars War Room on the Survivor side. They took a 2-boom, but were able to mitigate the damage of that tank pretty well. No dumpsters connecting there on that tank fight, and they are able to get out of there with only 1 incap, which is not too bad considering the fact that they ate that 2-boom. So nice recovery there by Team Sunstars Survivor. And the fact that they're alive and not wiped is really putting the nail in the coffin for Team Deeply Closeted, because they're in a position where they can totally make the safe room with this amount of health, and it's going to be very difficult to stop them from making up even more points.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, they're a little bit worse for wear in terms of health, and they have 1 slow, no pills left, but they're alive, and they're going to be able to make more distance. And we do have that boomer spawned up in the back, probably going to get popped by Domi there. He does go for that boom, not able to get it, but he is hiding himself, his fat little butt. He's running away, so he'll be able to get a respawn off that. Joining him will be a Jockey, Charger, and a Hunter coming up in this rotation. Looks like that Hunter is now spawned up, trying to make some noise, scare the survivors back a little bit, and it does work. They do push back and clear some common. We do have Zoe, who is currently slow, so they're going to have to be very cognizant of that. Boomer spawns up above them, and it looks like he is able to get a boom on Domi with the rest of the hit following. Looks like that Jockey is going to land on Bill for a moment. That's going to be a try count.
Wow, that was a very, very strong hit, kind of landing out of nowhere. It was only a 1-boom landing onto Bill, but I guess they got tunnel vision on one of the SI or something like that. But very nice hit going there out onto Southstars. A little too late, but it's nice to see that they're still able to throw in these coordinated hits and stop them from scoring too many more points on this away server.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I said earlier, these are the hits that they really needed this whole game, and they're proving that they're able to do it, which I think is a big thing. We do have that single boom going out on Lewis. They are going to be sending the rest of the hit with that. Pull goes out, not much to speak of for it. Spit goes down on them. Fortunately, does not get where they're standing, but he does get the Jockey down on Francis and the quick one on Bill. So overall, for a 2-2 with Smoker and Jockey, not a bad.
Yeah, I have faith that they can wipe it. I think it would be a grim way for this match to go if Team Southstars makes the safe room on every single one of their away game maps. I would like to see Team Deeply secure the wipe onto Team Southstars for one of these, and the way to do it is just by starting out with a 2-boom. There is a tri-cap coming in here. Smoker gets clear very quickly. Charger also likewise getting clear quickly, and then Domi getting a nice skeet onto Moscow's Hunter. Still decent damage coming out of that, pretty much destroying all the rest of the damage bonus, and Southstars are not looking very good, and hitting the alarm car is not here. And if we're looking for a wipe, this is how it starts.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think he shot the alarm car trying to down his good friend Zoe there, which is very unfortunate. We do have a nice boomer pop going out. Lewis does get down in the back, run that Jockey. Jockey looking for Bill, is able to land on him, but it's getting cleared by Francis. Hunter is pouncing around on Zoe, Spit goes down on Zoe, trying to distract
land on Zoe!
And Zoe couldn't get the skeet either. And eventually she got it.
Yeah, that was the best 1v1 showdown I've ever seen between Zoe and Ozzy, coming out with that W on the 1v1s. Nicely done to him. That being said, the rest of his team is extremely dead and only sitting at 4 bonus, which will be 0 by the time they get to the safe room, if they get to the safe room. So, yeah, looking for this next hit here, which is going to be an in-cap coming out onto Bill. There is a pop going on onto the boomer. Charger gets completely destroyed. Jockey is not able to get anything else, and Smoker is going to be running away into the distance. It's looking to delay the pickup maybe, but is just going to get shut down, looks like, by Lewis.
Francis is 1 HP in black and white and is just hobbling his way to the safe room, trying to get as many distance points as he can. If he makes the safe room, that would be a miracle. But he is the only one that's black and white. Everybody else has been down once. They're currently sitting on 0 bonus. So at this point, it's just about making distance. And they're doing a good job of that. They are taking downs, but they're getting themselves back up, and they're just trucking along as much as they can. We do see the smoker spawning up at the back of one boom going out on Francis.
Boom.
And
that boom from the bottom hit through the window there.
Oh, it was from the bottom?
Yeah, and the boomer was outside by where the alarm car is, and he boomed from outside.
Oh, wow.
He arced all the way up through there. That being said, they threw like 3 SI out on the guy who was 1 HP black and white, and they didn't need all that. But that being said, Knock has died, so he will not be making the safe room. They're trying to secure the rest of this wipe. Nice level going out there by Domi onto the charger. Survivor is just trying to get this last little bit of distance here. One boom going out onto Zoe. That's going to be a down. And a jockey onto him. And that's going to be Loud getting taken away. This will be the wipe. So Team Sunstars getting wipes will not make the safe room on this map. So very nicely done by Team Deeply Closeted to mitigate the score just a little bit more. That being said, with a nearly 4,000 point deficit between the two teams, this is just, it's kind of out of the ballpark of possibility at this point.
It is, and I have a lot of respect for DP Closeted for continuing to play it out. You know, we have seen teams before in the past, not just in this tournament, who will kind of GG it in the middle of an home-away series just because they know they can't win. And playing it out is just a great sign of respect to the other team, just to say, hey, we're losing, but that doesn't mean we can't finish this out, and, you know, respect each other after. So props to Deeply Closeted for this. But for South Stars, their first hit, as a reminder, is a Charger Smoker Boomer Hunter. Looks like that Hunter is going in. Full just go out on Zoe. Hunter also lands on her, though. Charger just runs himself in from the front and lands on Bill. Zoe does get pulled in the back. But relatively good shutdown, or clears, I should say, on everything there.
Yeah, pretty decently taken by Deeply Closeted considering the Tri-Boom and everything that landed. Probably a little bit more damage than they were hoping for. But yeah, as you say, good to see that they're playing this out. You know, I think that, beyond anything, you know, Left 4 Dead it's a fun game. And I think that you have to be able to enjoy yourself even while you're suffering from a loss. Otherwise, it's going to be really a grind as a team if you're not able to push through these types of scenarios and still play strongly as a team. Speaking of playing strongly as a team, we have a really nice hit going out here. Charger landing on to Lewis there with a spin on top of that. Jockey landing for a bit of a cover on that as well. And that is a pretty solid hit going out there onto Deeply Closeted with that attack on the event.
Absolutely. Like, you know, this is the kind of things that you'd expect from a pretty top-tier team. This is not a great area to hit in, but they're able to get decent amounts of damage on it. And like you were saying, like, if you're going to be losing as a team, you might as well be losing as a team and doing it together and having fun while you're doing it. Like, we're playing games on the internet. Sure, there's a monetary prize at the end of this, but at the end of the day, we're all a bunch of nerds on the internet playing this dead game because we have nothing better to do in quarantine. Have fun doing it. On that note, we do have a hit going in here. Pull is going to go out on Bill. That's going to be a rolling tri-cap with that Charger landing on Zoe and Lewis getting hunted. That Bill still being pulled, so a pretty good hit coming out from South Stars.
Yeah, pretty good. Definitely, probably a bit of an understatement. Just because, yeah, Tri-Boom landing and Tri-Cap very momentarily landing as well with that Hunter and Smoker cover with the Charger. So, ton of damage landing onto the Survivors, and that's way more than they want to take leading into this tank fight. Because this is going to be not the easiest tank to kill, especially with the South American long arms coming their way momentarily.
We do have that nice boomer pop going out. Looks like Jockey is going to land on Zoe for just a moment, and she's going to be able to shut down the Charger before he can do anything, so that's going to be a pretty good shutdown from Team Deeply Closeted. We do have the tank up in the hands of Ozzy. They are able to get back this time and not get caught by a boom or anything, or a dumpster. Did we take this over to South Stars Warrior on the Survivor side?
We did. So I believe we're going to keep it here for this SI side. Sorry, Chad, I know you would love to hear Ozzy and Nock speaking to each other. But I have to disappoint you once more. Just guys, I'm contractually obliged to hit a certain number of disappointing Twitch chat in one match, and I haven't quite hit that quota yet. So I'm just trying to fulfill that. We do have a boomer looking for one boom here. He is going to land it, but that's not going to be quite a good spot for the tank to commit. Just because the rest of the support is down. That being said, Loud, tank up in the hands of Ozzy. Loud, I believe, was the boomer, allowing the tank to get up there without a ton of chip, and this will be a good spot for the tank to commit from.
Chat, I appreciate your copy pasta, but he's not on green ping. Anywho, looks like Ozzy is going to be committing here with 10% rage. He almost went AI there. He is going to be able to get that initial punch on Lewis, and should be able to get that corner too. One more punch on him, and he will be down, and he is down. He's going to have a Charger Jockey and Smoker as support. Zoe is going to get pulled and jockeyed, and he's going to get charged. That's going to be a wipe for Ozzy.
Yeah, Smoker coming out to finish off with Tricap. Ozzy getting the long arm corner out onto Lewis is very, and it looks like Team Eagle Closet is going to call the GG as they are completely mathematically out of it at this point. Very nice swipe going out onto them by Team South Stars with Ozzy's tank and amazing support. And that will be the end of this game. The final score for Team South Stars is 5,427. Stupid Closet is 1,922. Very nicely played by South Stars, showing why they are seated highly in the tournaments and showing that, hey, everyone in the 2-2 bracket, we are coming for you, and we are going to be putting up a fight from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very good series for me. I really enjoyed watching it, really enjoyed casting it. I'm very proud of both teams. I think they both proved that they are forces to be reckoned with in this tournament. And I think if Deeply Closeted can just clean up a little bit of their play, they could really be contenders. But with that, I think that is all I have to say about this match. Do you have any closing thoughts before we say adieu to our cast? Or I should have, whatever they are, viewers, chat, that's it.
Closing thoughts. Commiserations to Team Deeply Closeted for the loss. However, it was a very strong fight with some really strong SI play, especially on that away server at the beginning there. And I think that they've demonstrated that they are capable of some high caliber play, and I think that if they are able to up the consistency on that, then they will definitely have a shot at making the playoffs here and hitting the rest of the tournament with a force. And I'm very looking forward to seeing how both of these teams play it out. Thank you very much to the viewers and to Vanille for streaming this game. Thanks very much for joining me for these last two very long casts, Blake. And I'm going to go get some lemon tea and help heal my throat from all the talking that I've done for the last 6 hours today.
Oh, God, yeah. Have a good one, chat.
Take it easy.